NZ Aerosports, Icarus Canopies, now Gyro. That's right, we've rebranded, and Gyro is our next generation. It honours our founder, as that's the name we knew him by, but Gyro also marks the start of a new chapter. And not to be biased, but it's going to be fucking epic. Long story short, we're more us than ever, so if you're new to the sport, or even a Sky God Ninja Turtle, welcome. I think our valiant leader Lucy, Gyro's daughter, says it best.
And we still got that fuck yeah attitude. Rebrand! Woo!
Rebrand woo indeed, Lucy. Anyway, head over to gyro.com for more info and get amongst you legends.
I was 19, broke, unemployed, and sold my girlfriend's canopy for drug money. So I thought I better sew her a new one. What a sentence, and what a story. This describes the humble yet outrageous beginnings of NZ Aerosports, the home of Icarus Canopies, in the words of our founder himself. From getting a paratrooper toy from his mom, watching parachutes at the DZ as a 6-year-old, jumping off the wharf with a parachute made from bed sheets, doing his first jump at 16, sewing his first canopy on a borrowed machine at 19, and starting to sell parachutes out of a garage in 1986, Paul Gyro Martin had an undying love for the sky. Our company started with one man with the wildest of spirits and a true blue sky dream, a renegade. In the time that Gyro created and ran the Icarus Canopies brand until he passed away in 2017, he pushed everything he had to its limits. We miss him, and we always will. Gyro is the next generation of NZ Aerosports. It honors our founder, of course, because it was the name we all knew him by, but Gyro the rebrand also marks the start of a new chapter, our next jump. Gyro is the space between sound and silence, art and science, chaos and calm. Gyro is a state of epic tranquility that transcends understanding. That moment, in the door, in free fall, mid-swoop, where nothing but the present exists. A perfect balance of euphoria and thrill. Gyro captures our passion for flying and our commitment to designing break-the-fucking-rules canopies that deliver pilots pure, wild flight. Hey gang, so I got a new book out. It's called The Upside of Fear, and it's exactly what you think it's about. It's about the good side of, well, getting scared. In it, we talk not only about the science and biology behind fear, but the psychology as well. And it's not just coming from me, it's coming from some of the best in the sport. Omar Alhigelan, Jeff Provenzano, Maxine Tate, and so many more have contributed their sometimes terrifying stories to the book to help you overcome your fear. So head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com. You're going to find the link to the book there, as well as the other books. It's available in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook right now.
Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go. Back in the can for another edition of the Lunatic Fringe podcast, and somebody I've been looking forward to speaking to for a long time now, and here we are. Tell me, who the fuck are you and what do you do?
I'm your greatest fan. Hello. My name's Kēbē. I'm Kēbē, and I'm a board guy. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Kēbē, you strap planks of wood to your feet and jump out of airplanes, and you've been doing that for a while now, haven't you?
I've been doing that for a little while. It's creeping up on years. I think this is year 30.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
It's amazing how quick it gets behind you, right?
It can be. Yeah. There's from one perspective it can be, and from another perspective, wow, that was a trek, man.
Yeah, for sure. So
it happens in segments and sections and eras.
Yes, it does. Well, and you look back and everything from the music that you listen to the style of equipment and rigs and jumpsuits and the attitudes of the people all kind of have their times, right?
Yeah, and I listen to music when I surf. I started doing that back in 2002.
Nice.
It was a little MP3 player I had on the side of my factory diver. It was like a little bullet shaped MP3, and it had headphones in there. And Johnny Eagle, he sat right behind me, and every now and then he'd mess because I had my MP3 on the back of my helmet,
Right.
and he'd stop and start or change the song. Yeah, we had a funny little communication going on with that. And since he's crossed over and continued on elsewhere, we'll say, as I understand it, in those higher dimensions, there's been some little chit chat back and forth about that specific thing. I'm glad we ended up on that part of the conversation.
He keeps
That's the
fucking with
extreme,
your music.
or hearing it as it's happening. No,
So
when the higher levels start happening, there's a little bit less of a screwing with you. We do that here amongst ourselves in the physical, but the higher levels tend to try to just be there for you.
fair enough, fair enough.
With you.
So, for all of this, I mean, you've been at this for quite some time. People might not recognize the name, but I guarantee they've seen some of the images that you've been a part of. But how did it all get started for you? Like, not necessarily in skydiving, but in anything, so-called extreme or out of the norm.
Uh, you know, I graduated from a federal academy in 1994. Got on a Midwest dinner boat, casino boat kind of thing, as because it fulfilled an obligation to the merchant marine, and they required licenses. So that was part of fulfilling that obligation to the school. There were other ships after that were blue water as well, but in that particular point, I'm working in this job, and it was all about money. It was a casino boat, and I'm watching it take people's money. I'm watching the system work, and I'm like, there's definitely something else I want to be doing here. And I continued some of the pursuit of the funny stuff at the quarter beer night at the local place with some friends from school. Got involved I've had challenges in getting involved in the not so healthy relationships along the way, jumping into some things too fast. And this was one of the cocktail waitresses.
Mm.
And groovy looking woman and fun, showed me music, Love and Rockets, and a couple other cool things, Nine Inch Nails, which ends up being the stuff that I'm listening to in my headphones years down the road. But I found out she was a little bit, without me putting some rumors out there, her therapist ended up calling me and telling me that he had just changed her medication and to give her a second chance. And I was like, I'm good. I got to keep it rolling, man. And so I was looking for something else to do. I'd always wanted to jump out of a plane. I'd actually put in my academy yearbook as my goal in life was to skydive over a Lollapalooza festival.
Nice.
Which is yet to happen. However, along the way, I end up meeting Perry Farrell, which is crazy. And then in retrospect, I'm like, I was sitting right next to him having a conversation. It'll happen. Keep going down the road. Eyes on the horizon. Like, it's not over, man. Keep rolling with it. The camera's still moving. So, yeah, anyway, I see that I start jumping out of a plane. I see the X Games. It's like Uh, even though Rook Nelson started skydiving when he was like 4,
Mm.
technically he started, or as far as USPA is concerned, he started um, flying in June of 1995. His 30 year is coming up also. And he graduated like a week before me. I showed up, did my tandems. I think he was on that plane, maybe graduating, something in there,
Mm.
in that window. I see the X Games. Some guy at a party is like, "Look, dude, you're on TV." And I look, and it's Rob Harris. And
Oh,
I see this guy that looks a lot like me, and he's smiling in the picture in picture. And it's this massive grin, and he's spinning really fast and smooth. And I'm like, what's going on there? There's something I would like to understand. So I went back, did my, I skipped out on a family vacation. My mother's going to find out about that through this airing. Yeah, she's out getting groceries right now. My new best friend in the world, in the universe. And I skipped out on a family vacation, went and did my AFP program in a week. I like slept in the parking lot in the truck, and then I saw. I think it was I saw Olav at somebody gave me a tape, and it was Zipser, crazy hair, upside down in the doorway, doing like a handstand
yep.
on one hand, foot outside the door. I'm like, what's that? I want to
Yep.
do that. I want to figure out what that is. And then I found a Dale Stewart book, freestyle book. I'm like, okay, I got to do that to get to the board thing. So I'll just keep going down that path. That
Sure.
seems like the thing to do. And of course, along the way, Rook is there doing his thing. So we cross paths along the way for like a jump where he's like, oh, just stay like upright, and I'm going to try to come up to you.
Mm.
And I'm, I mean, I can stand at that point, but
Right.
I'm like at jump 80 or something. And he flies up to me on my head, and I remember doing this, and it was like a high five, and then off we went. We both he maybe had 150 jumps at that point, and I didn't know I had under 95, because
Wow.
when 90 I'm at it's like we started, that was June of 95, and then December of 95 is when the Rob Harris's mishap happens during the Mountain Dew
Yeah.
commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah, so front man of the sport, early checkout, early timeout. We'll
Yeah.
say timeout. Um, one of his pilots named Randy, who flew with him at Taft, he walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, man, I know this Rob meant a lot to you," because I had seen him in a magazine. I'm like, I'm gonna catch you. I wanna get to where you're at. And so that was my thing.
Sure.
He hands me his obituary. It's in the hangars. This is the old Skydive Chicago. The Skydive Chicago now is the new Skydive Chicago. The old
Right.
one was right across the highway on the south side of the highway. So I took it, read it, put it in my helmet in the liner, walked over to Roger Nelson's short sky surfboard. He had an intro deck. And I look up and I'm like, well, it's about time, I'm about ready. And as I'm thinking it's about time, I'm about ready, he's walking behind me with the student. He's like, looks like it's about time and you're ready. I'm like, man, I would love to. It's like, well, there it is. I'm sure you'll figure it out. And that was by the way, in full, that's not the way to teach somebody how to sky surf.
No. No, it's not.
We both learned together along the way because I found out, but it wasn't necessarily the smoothest path on that first surf. So I take the thing, I put it on. I didn't put the heel straps up above my shoe
Oh no.
to hold my foot down. I only put it around the back of the shoe because the way that particular board manufacturer at the time had the strap, it had a little pad, and I thought that little pad went on the back of your shoe. The little pad was there to pad your freaking tendon, man.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. So I put it in. Okay, great. Here we go. I'm going to go up and do this. Of course, one or two of the tandem masters had something kind of observant to say. And then there was also, I don't know, I don't want to tell them too much. I just,
Right.
like, yeah, no, it'll be all right. So we're in a Cessna, and it's the same pilot, Randy. He takes me up. He's like, don't hit the fuel switch. I used to do this for Rob. I'll dip the wing, and then you just go out. All right, yeah, we're doing this. I go out, and I'm thinking it's intelligent to just stand on the thing.
Sure.
Which that's great if you know how to do that, but there's
Right.
a good chance it's not going to work out. It's like that Neo Matrix thing. Nobody makes the first jump.
Yep.
I go out, and because it's such this soft air out of the Cessna, he cut it a lot. He did a little bit of a 0G, you know. And if you're staying in that slot and you don't react and go ass over tea kettle, you can drop into a nice groove there. And I did, and I was standing on it. Wow, this is amazing. I love this. Standing on top of the world. I should probably learn how to fall and get back up. I had gone over this a little bit. I didn't go over my own pre-planned deployment altitude that needs to be at 5.5. I'm going to go ahead and open when I open. All
Sure.
right. There, first mistake. You know, you want to open at 5.5. You want to go all the way back up to when you first started as a tandem. You've got a board on your feet. You've got a piece of equipment. You've got to deal with it. You don't know what altitude it's going to eat up. Maybe you open up in a line twist. You've got something else to deal with. Go higher. So I'm standing there. Let me learn how to get down and get back up. I mistakenly sat backwards. You sit backwards, and when you lay on your back, you're given the top side of the deck to the air, and it can you know, it's moving you this way and that way.
Sure.
And you know, and you're not used to what it's gonna do. I roll over to my stomach at some point after it starts turning me. And as I roll over, it pulls off of one foot. Now it's moving me faster. And it's moving me quick. And I'm like, okay, we're getting down there. I should probably think about getting rid of this thing. As I'm reaching for it, it pulls off the other foot.
Ooh.
Like as I'm reaching for my handle to cut away, it pulls off of the other foot. I mean, thankfully that worked out that way, but
Sure.
I've seen a video of somebody doing this in that same level of non-information and going about it. It happened recently. Somebody did the same exact thing, and he was very cool about it. He's like, yeah, I didn't read your manual and I didn't ask you. I see now why you're saying you do what you do.
Right.
Because he had his cable exposed, and the wind grabs it, cuts 1 foot away, and the next thing you know, you're turning into a propeller.
Yeah.
An incidental propeller. So after that December flight with that first board, of course, then I was walking the fields of Ottawa, Illinois, looking for Roger Nelson's board for a couple of days. And yeah, we found the pilot chute for it, but we didn't find the board. I think that some farmers' children have a nice, like, miniature snowboard toy. Is what
Yeah,
I think.
it's hanging on it's either hanging on a wall or in the back of a barn somewhere.
It could be. I'm telling you, some kid with a little. There's another board there too, an important one in that same area, and that ends up happening to me. So that's what we're talking about is 1995.
Right.
In the year 2000, fast forward 5 years, same skies, different airport. It's a week, maybe 2 weeks before the X Games. I finally am going to make it to the X Games. We're there, man.
Right.
Brooke and I got a tryout tape in. We managed to qualify for an alternate. This has been my thing. I want to just get to the X Games.
Yep.
I had broke my ankle along the way, knocked myself out of competition stuff, fought back, ended up in a jail for marijuana, ended up coming back. All these things, this job, that job. We get to the point, it's 2 weeks before the X Games. I had these really cool step-in bindings, which was a pin on my Doc Martens. Same cutaway system, but this pin then went into a set of receivers. So there's a spring lock receiver on the deck. Again, another weird ass relationship the week before where I was being told that she might be pregnant. Yes, and I'm the whole time going, that's not possible. The biomechanics wouldn't work out that way because these guys didn't go in that direction. So I'm like trying to get my board on. This is going on in my head. Breathe. Don't worry about it. I didn't do my double and triple check on my pins. Go out, do my thing, getting ready, and rips off my feet. I'm sitting there in like a stand up sort of hybrid weird position, like, okay, well, I guess we're looking for the board because I really need that thing to go to the X Games that I've been preparing for 5 years. Land, can't find the thing. Now, in all of those years, the founder of Surflight, Jerry Loftus, had a terminal accident as well, a timeout, and in 1998, Patrick de Guillardon had his incident in around that same year.
Yep.
And now Surflight had changed hands to a new person named Kerry Vale, who at the time he had 0 skydives, but he had sent Jerry the plans for a gull wing type board that he felt was important, and he just wanted to make it. I ended up getting that board. I still have it. It's actually the basis for some of the stories I'm writing that have to do with, well, there's characters on other planets that were once board riders on this planet. Let's put it that way. So, yeah, we can get into that later. So, Kerry's like, I'll get a board together right now and get it to you. Board shows up like a couple days before we're leaving to go to Quincy was still going on at that time. We go to Quincy, and then from Quincy to the X Games, and end up going and flying over San Francisco. That was one of the most grateful moments in my life, was be able to get to that point and just have attained that goal of flying at the X Games.
Yep.
Then kind of like sizing it up, wondering what's going to happen now. Where am I going to go with it in life? And then find out not too long after, no more sky surfing at the X Games. I'll like,
right.
What? Now, can I go back to the Tony Hawk party I was in? Because there's some conversations I'd like to continue.
Yeah, man. I mean, I started jumping a year after you did, and sky surfing was immediately in my consciousness because I worked at the Flyaway Wind Tunnel in Las Vegas, and one of my coworkers, Mary Tortomasi, was learning to fly the board there. And Rob Harris was still really big news, shortly followed by Troy and Vic Papadoto. And so
Troy is awesome, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Troy's another Academy guy. He's Air Force Academy.
Yeah, man. So this was all at the same time that Olav and the Flyboys and Omar were all just going off with Chronicles and all that stuff. And the X Games kind of encapsulated all that, because as a new jumper at the time, I got to point to that and go, I do some version of that. Like, I don't do that, but I do something like that. And so it was immediately this shove into this cool world that the normal people didn't understand, because I got to say I'm a skydiver, and all they're thinking is those crazy people in the X Games,
which is now this part's really cool. Think of how many what our percentage was vertical flyers, sky surfers, kind of in that freestyle vertical people, total population of that 40,000 USPA membership. What would you say the percentage was back in that 1996 time frame?
Oh, it was.
What were we, like 1%?
Oh yeah, 2%? Man. Because that was still in the I like to call it the grunge days, because that was when either you were RW, which meant crisp jumpsuits and clean gear and very professional and almost kind of military, or you were vertical, which meant that the dirtier your jumpsuit and the nastier your rig, chances are the better jumper you were. It was.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. There's also something that I found out along the way, which is really amazingly cool and symbolic, metaphorical. I touch on this in the stories that I'm writing too, but the name Heyoka is a native Indian word. It's also a parallel or similar to the word empath. The Heyoka tribe, the Heyoka of the tribe, were known as the clowns. Okay, right. The Heyoka are the Native American tribes that you see of a Kachina doll that are always, there's a group of them, and they're always dressed similar, like red and white, red and black, or white and black, black and yellow, red and yellow. I was like, when I was sitting in this place in Grants Pass, New Mexico, after I had down the road, got back into it again, and was like going back into the flying, but now there was a higher thing going on, and going, hey, maybe I can take this back into what I do. I'm sitting in this little Native American place in Grants Pass, and I'm looking at all these Kachina dolls of these Heyoka. I'm like, these are like, that's like the free fly clowns. That's the fly boys. That's Omar, the Arizona free flight. There's the Dallas space guys. There's the there's the monkey claw with blue and yellow. I mean, all of those checkerboard things or stripe stuff. Those are all very Heyoka. And when you learn that they're the clowns, I'm like, hey, Omar, Olaf, do you know about the Heyoka, man? Because you're like space Heyoka.
Right.
And And I don't. Right about then, I see some picture of him like in Africa when he was working with a group that I think it was near Kenya.
Mm.
And he's sitting with a group of Africans as this Caucasian guy with this like tribal headdress on. I'm like,
Yes, I know the picture you're talking about.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Now, you kind of touched on it a little bit before, but I remember thinking as I got further into the sport and competed briefly on a much lower level as a camera flyer for sky surfing, but sky surfing kind of almost seemed to be a bit cursed back then because there was such a rash of um, losses in that sport, whether it be the
Yeah.
camera flyers or the guys on the board, that it almost seemed
Yeah.
like whoa. I mean, it really was. It was oh, of course we lost another sky surfer, of course this happened. It was,
Yeah.
and I was lucky enough to count Vic Papadoto as somewhat of a friend. I had known him for a while. He was actually flying camera for my buddy Sammy Popov, who was flying board at the
Oh, I know
time.
Sammy. Yeah, actually, I
Yeah.
still have a Fisher space pen he gave me.
Nice, yeah, exactly. When him and Vic were sponsored by Fisher Space Pen and all that, and of course,
I didn't pick up on that part.
yeah, they were sponsored by
So
Fisher.
when Troy stepped out and started doing the MTV stuff,
Sammy stepped
Vic
in.
started flying with
That's why Vic ended up working part-time flying video in Vegas because it was a very profitable drop zone, but that's also where Fisher Space Pens were made. So he was coming from Paris to Vegas all the
I
time.
did not understand that. Now I do.
Yeah, so they were going back and forth, partly for the sponsorship stuff and then partly for the work. And so, of course, that's unfortunately where we lost Vic, which was an enormous loss to the sport.
So let me ask you about that incident. And he's somebody I've heard his voice since the crossover situation as well.
Mm.
But what was his incident? What transpired? What
Oh
was his
man,
act-
it's the most fucking. I mean, you always hear, oh, it was such a bizarre thing in skydiving. That's how we lost someone. It's always a weird story, right? But this is
Right.
a really weird story. So there was a birthday happening on the drop zone at Skydive Las Vegas, and they decided that they were going to go out and do like a 6 or 8 way jump, for this guy's birthday. And Vic got pulled into videoing the jump because they were going to play a prank on the birthday boy. And that prank was they were going to build a round, and then one of the guys had with them an 18-inch black rubber dildo. And they were going to
Hi,
take,
Mom.
yeah,
How's
right?
it going? Don't pay attention to this part.
Yeah, right. So the deal was they were gonna whip out this big dildo and thump him with it and pass it around and just keep basically
Okay.
beating him
Yeah,
with this
the-
dildo.
Right.
Ha ha, funny, funny. Well, Vic was flying camera slot, so he's
Oh, dear.
above them, right where you want to be, just riding out the burble. And the plan, the dive flow was when the round broke off, Vic was gonna do his camera thing and dump in place. For some reason, obviously nobody will know because we can't ask him, Vic picked up on who was still holding the dildo and tracked above him, as he was tracking away from the group. Then Vic goes to pitch, and he was jumping, I think, a Spectre 135 or 120 or something like that. But
Okay.
as he's going into line stretch, the guy with the big dildo is just below him in line stretch, and Vic had a spinning malfunction. Um,
Oh, dear.
he spun 2 times, maybe, I guess, and then actually hit body to body with the
Oh,
other
dear.
jumper, hard enough that Vic's shoes and his camera helmet came off.
That's the part I heard.
Yeah.
And that's all I ever understood. Is
Yeah.
that there was some type of impact.
Yeah.
Shoes came off. And that's
Yep.
as much of the story. Now I understand why I didn't get the rest of the story. Continue on. So
Yeah, I mean, basically,
spinning impact.
impact, and then he augured in. They
So
assume that
he's probably probably had a little bit of it could have possibly had a concussion going on.
Oh, they assume he was out cold because from all the people that saw it,
And because he had something out,
yeah,
that guy
no Cypress, no nothing.
popped.
He
Right.
augured in. The other jumper somehow managed to remain conscious even though he had incredibly bad injuries. God knows how many broken bones.
Oh
But he
man.
managed to stay conscious and managed to land his canopy.
Oh, that guy had broken bones from their impact?
Yeah, like badly broken. Like they weren't sure
Holy,
if
so they turned into click clacks.
yeah. Oh no. Fucking full on. Because you figure Vic was not a small guy. He was probably 220 pounds. And under a spinning mal, a 120, maybe 135, but spinning hard enough that he was able to go body to body with this other jumper with no brakes, no nothing.
Man, I was fortunate enough to have flown with on an aircraft with Vic and Troy. There was it would have been X Games. I guess it was 1998.
So that would have been
Hold on a second. I think that's my mother coming into the garage.
okay.
So 1998. Yeah, we might have to do a pause and then a continuance.
Sure.
But it was 1998. They were weathered out in San Diego and needed to do a test of the X Games transmission system. I had a private night by myself in my RV off to the alternate landing area. I had run out of money, so I moved right. This is 1997. You could get away with this. Drove my Bounder RV just off the alternate landing area next to this big tree.
Right.
Had a little bonfire night, listening to No Code by Pearl Jam. Sometimes seen a strange spot in the sky. Something is. Turns out they actually did go do some tandems in Shoshonish at one point in time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so I think that's what that song's from. But I wake up like, whoa, we're gonna manifest going to, it's gonna all happen. And next morning I wake up and there's a big freaking 53-foot dry van with giant antennas on it. And there's Kēbē, we need you. We got to test the X Games equipment. I was like, what kind of crazy? Wow. I had actually that night, I got in this zone where called my father 2, 3 in the morning, Arizona time. He's here in Virginia. So it's, 5 in the morning, whatever it is. Like, Dad, man, you remember when you said he was a helicopter pilot for the Coast Guard and the Army? Yeah, that's cool in itself. Like, you remember when you said we wanted to go for a flight, a helicopter together? Maybe we could figure that out, or we should have done that. Maybe we could figure that out. And he had a long talk, a heart-to-heart thing. We ended up going our separate ways. While this particular pursuit of the spinning of a world record thing happens,
Right.
I hear my father's voice. Hey, let's go fly the. Time to go fly the helicopter together. Come on. This is me waking up in the morning to go train and practice.
Right.
All right. My mother just stepped in. Can we do a pause and
Sure.
I'll tell her what's going on and we'll jump back in?
Yeah, let me hit the pause button right now.
I appreciate it. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay, so we're back from the pause real quick, and we were finishing up talking about you were able to go jump with Troy and Vic,
Right.
doing
right.
a test jump with the X Games.
Test jump with the X Games. Yeah, that was a really cool day for me because, when I started this trek to go sky surf and wanted to make it to those X Games, I started skydiving in June of 95. I put the board on my feet in December of 95, and I went about it the incorrect way.
Yeah.
Then I ended up in that process of trying to buy a new board for Roger Nelson. I found Surflight and had a long talk with Jerry Loftus. And Jerry Loftus made all the sense in the world to me. And said, yeah, when your recovery position is on your belly, just like you skydive, you want to control everything, arch, tuck the board on your feet like a scorpion, or on your butt, tuck it behind you. You want to pull that board's drag into be a controlled variable rather than dancing around back there. Pull your knees down a little bit, just find that happy little slot, but then you can right and left turn. It's just like skydiving box man or delta man.
Sure.
If you're in France, it's the modified frog. Yeah, there's a reality to the modified frog from Fandango, man. Modified frog is important in sky surfing. When I figured that out, when I was writing this manual for people, I'm like, what would that be called? Where you do this a little? I'm like, it's the modified frog. No way. Yeah, so I had a long talk with Jerry. I ended up going to one of his seminars it would have been March of 1996. By the time that last X Trials event in sky surfing takes place in August in Paris, California, that same year, 1996, I had gotten up to about 400 something sky surfs. You were supposed to have 500 to compete in it.
Right.
So I added a few extra. Showed up with Chris Hall of Kansas City. He's in Skydive KC. And I tried to go with Rook Nelson. I'm like, because we started flying together. And I'm like, man, this is fun hanging out with this guy. I mean, he's younger, but I wasn't really I wasn't seeing people. I don't really see people as ages.
Yeah, you don't really so much in the sport, right?
Right. You're excited and you're doing stuff. I even do that out in public. It's like, we're brothers, all brothers and sisters in the eyes of the light of God, light of the Lord, Allah, however you want to term the creator. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all one big family. So I'm like, Rook, want to go to the X Trials? He's like, I got to go back to junior year of high school next week. I'm like, what? Hold on for a second. Mr. Nelson, could I have a word with you? I was still very, very, there was a little bit of academy stuff that's still with me. I'd like to know if your son could go to the X Games with me. Well, he's got to go to high school, but I'll go with you. I was like, I don't, inside I'm like, I don't know what that will entail.
Right.
And I'm acting like I'm very straight-laced right now. And I'm a little, I don't know what's going to happen here. I was just like, actually, I already started flying with another guy also. Like, in my head, I'm like, I think we're in a group, but I'm trying to be polite to like the man.
Of course.
Like, wow, this is cool that he's like offered to fly with me, but I'm at the same time like, I'm already going with this other dude that's like, we might groove a little bit better.
Right.
In retrospect, I wonder so much what would have happened if I had gone that route. But point is, I was trying to go with Rook, and he's got to go back to high school. I ended up going with Chris. It was the greatest thing ever. We qualified at that X Trials, went to the possibly the coolest party I'll ever be at in my life. Olav, Omar, Fly Boys, everybody from the tour, Knut Crackers, Vivian Grass. Everybody's at Eli Thompson's father's loft in LA. And next thing you know, I'm having this talk with Olaf about what happens if you fly with the people and we're going in this angle, and then if we go this, he's like, yeah, for sure. We're talking about a team move you're doing there. He's working with a little green bag in the corner and just they're going out around the room. And before you know it, we're all in Happy Time USA having a little
Sure.
chat about flying. Hands are moving this way and that way. But I get back to Chicago from that event. Chris looks at me. He's like, "You think it feels like we're part of something bigger now?"
Mm.
And again, we're at that point in skydiving where that percentage of vertical flyers is 1 to 3% of the total population.
Yep.
Fast forward to now, it's like 50% of the population. Plus the body flight, the international body flight registration is like at 40,000, which is the same exact number as the USPA registration is 40,000. Think of how many vertical flyers are out there now.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well,
I get back. Go ahead.
I was going to say the big difference is back then you had a super small percentage, and out of the rest of them, no one ever tried anything vertical. Whereas now you've got 50 or 60% that are constant vertical flyers, but 90% have tried it at least.
Right. Yeah. And that entire concept of flying vertical to me was extremely logical. That's the bird flying through the sky, except that airstream is coming straight at you.
Yep.
And that's why I love flying the board and going down in that direction. And that was my way of, okay, I can fly with these guys one day. First time I started doing that tracking or angle flying with somebody was with the Flyboys in Paris in 98 or 99. And Mike is on his kind of like on his side looking back at me, flying next to me in this crazy like side fly style.
Right.
Fritz is off to my left, like doing his video thing under his arm.
Right.
And I'm like, where is Eli? But don't look around too much. And I see when I'm flying and the head and the board are at that position.
Yeah.
My head looking back over me would turn me that way. So I can only look up so much, but my eyes got up enough to see what was like. It was as if he had his hands on my shoulder and my rig and was looking over my shoulder like, hello. He's like waving, I think. The first Javelin that I flew with for a while with houndstooth on it, I had written on it, "Here flies Eli," when I jumped back into the sport.
Nice.
Because to me, after I stepped away from the sport and became more active after a life change having to do with some marital dynamic challenges, it became more about the continuance of us, regardless of where you are. Because I see now where my challenges were in my competitive mindset back in 2002, 1, 2, 3, 99, 2000, 1, 2, 3. I didn't know how to look at death. I didn't know how to look at my friends and my family who one by one, as we get older, people start disappearing. And you can look at it as an end. You can look at it as a beginning. But for me, an engineering guy, I was like, well, how is that happening? I want to know. I want to understand it. I want to understand how to look at it. And doing these spinning records over the pyramids and really thinking about that, I started understanding some things about higher dimension and being exposed to it in a literal sense. And that helped me. Can you hear Heidi, the dog, drinking her water?
Oh, just barely. It's definitely not a worry. Yeah. No, it's all good.
You know, the last competition I was in was 2003 in a world competition I was in 2003. And it shows a little bit of my competitive mindset. Growing up, there was one person I saw in competition that I thought, okay, as good as John McEnroe is, I don't want to be like that guy.
Sure.
With the upset nature that would happen, the throwing things. Well,
Yeah.
Here we are. Fast forward 2003. I'm at a competition in Gap, France, getting ready to get on the plane. I had fallen back into 7th place at that point. And I got to a point, I was just like, let's just play. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm just going to roll with something. Just keep an eye on me. And Jason came back. He's like, I think we should stick with the plan. And I was not very good at expressing myself. And it showed at this point because I threw the board at that point with my hands like this. I had the board in I carry the board with like my hand holding the bindings. And I went like that. I'm like, I want to do this. So however I expressed it, I yelled, which keep in mind, months earlier, not too long earlier, we lost a friend named Mike Barber. He was in a Navy SEALs movie, and an unfortunate incident happened in the stunt work, and he crossed over.
Yeah, I heard about that.
At
I
water
remember that.
landing. He
I remember that.
suffocated.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of these things, it's just...
Yeah.
We put ourselves over our head in that case, of that literal sense in that. And I got mad at that point with that incident and threw a carpenter's square into a wall. And it was all about this is what came back to me being upset about somebody departing and me not knowing how to look at it. Well,
sure. Here
we are at this competition, and I got mad again through the board, and it's stuck into not into the trunk, but into the branches, where I had to go and like pull it out before we got on the airplane. So that came back to me, and I'm like, I need to make sense of that a little bit and understand why I got so upset. And it's, well, it doesn't have to be somebody that passed away in skydiving, obviously. I mean, there's things that happen in car accidents.
Sure.
Bob Hallett, really good, influential skydiver, who looked out for me when I started stepping back into I kind of did a good job of touching home base and going and sky surfing once every couple of years. And Bob Hallett looked out for me a couple of times.
Yeah.
I understand you want to go sky surfing. Go jump one time without the board first. And then
yep.
I had a habit of doing that and showing up with this 5-foot stick, like, I'm here to do my currency jump.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
I did that once in Skydive, Arizona, and it was a 6-foot 2x12 that I had done because I wrote my first script, and it was like kind of grade B sort of level, but the character in the story breaks the legs off his picnic table, and they screw his feet to his boots to this 2x12 to give him a board, and he goes and flies it. So that's why I was like, okay, well, I want to see if I can go and fly my own stunt. So that's how I went and did it. Craig Gerard's watching me. He's like, I said, you want to go do a currency jump with me? He's like, no.
I can picture him doing that, being ever the diplomat as well. Super professional and nothing but a smile, but you could see in the back of his mind, he's like, is this fucking guy? Yeah. Oh, I can see it. I can see Craig doing that for sure.
So stepping away from the sport in the marital situation, wanting to understand what was going on, why I committed to that relationship, and really flying it out, then creating a $1 million business with her with Savannah Slow Ride. Have you ever seen the pub crawling machines where people pedal together?
Yeah. I've seen them.
I built like 55 of those things.
Of course you did.
A few more than I originally intended to. However, We went our separate ways in our divorce. I kept building them. She kept building Savannah Slow Ride, operating Savannah Slow Ride, and it's an extremely successful company. But in that town of Savannah and building those and going to, well, I didn't know what else to do.
Mm.
And I kept doing that. And it was something I was chasing and longing to understand. And it had to do with understanding some of this continuance stuff, the higher dimensional stuff, this connectivity. I started experiencing interactive levels that were clearly not only my own imagination. There was just way too much candid nature to what I was experiencing. And it was clearly this side, the other side working together at that point. And there were things I had intended having to do with that understanding. You know, you're ready to experience that thing about you, what you perceive as your reality on those levels, very much so. So what you're ready to open the door to understand more of, you do. So all that comes around to me stopping, running out of money, building the bikes. I take what I have. I go down in Arizona. I had bought a little trailer out there along the way. And there I am with what I have. And Javier Ortiz, camera flyer for Damian Herdlicka,
Yep.
gets a hold of me and says, "Hey, Kēbē, can you make a replica board for me of Damian's?" Genius. My first order. My first order is Surflight, because along the way I had purchased Surflight from Kerry, who then ends up passing away from cancer in 2017, or 2018. I got to Arizona and like, oh, I got to go talk to Kerry about what I do with something in the board manufacturing process. Knock on his door and his wife answers. She's like, "Oh, Kēbē, I'm so sorry. Today is his 6 months anniversary of departing from cancer." I was like, "Oh, okay." Like,
Yeah. What do you say at that point, right?
exactly. So again, like now building the boards is taking on so much more meaning with
Sure.
it. I had gotten married to the woman that I was married to for 13, 14 years, to Samantha, was at the shop there, which is at the base of the Superstition Mountains. You want to really know what you're getting into, by the way, if you get married at the base of the Superstition Mountains.
Well, I
Thank
love I love the
Thank you,
fact that
Googly, for higher ground from the man himself, from Stevie Wonder, because very superstitious writings on the wall really came into play on that.
I bet.
So we get further down the line, and now I'm looking at competitions differently. Man, it would be fun to go to a competition, but for me at that point, there were no more competitions for sky
Sure.
surfing. It all ended, and I'm sitting in the desert like, okay, what do we do with it? It's time to start a new era. But how can I think about this from a fun aspect? You know, I heard Laird Hamilton once talk about surfing competitions, saying it takes away a little bit of the fun,
Sure.
natural, powerful understanding of surfing. And so for me to fly simply for sport helped a great many things, like why you're doing it. And for
Sure.
me pursuing it with the spinning and understanding of what I'm experiencing on a dimensional level. And now, okay, let's reintroduce this competition format. This year, the Skydive Chicago Cloud Games have accepted sky surfing as a new event. Very
Awesome.
exciting for me. Stefania Martinengo
Yeah.
did Sky on Stage a couple of months or a couple of years ago, and I was fortunate enough to have followed through and gotten onto that. But that was during 2020, and it kind of
Sure.
I understand it kind of got we kind of got the rug pulled out from under us in a few different ways that year. But this year's Skydive Chicago Cloud Games, there's going to be a sky surf event, which actually I've kind of warmed them up to the idea of doing the meter class board, which is the side stance, and then
Right.
doing an inline class.
Nice.
Yeah, and basic stuff, not all this spinning, twisting, inverted arc reactor moves. It's
Well,
just front flip, back flip, right turn, left turn, and repeat sequence, repeat sequence.
sure. Well, I mean, again, I had a very brief time in sky surfing, and I was lucky enough to know that my partner and I were only going to get so far. The only big competition that we were in was the
You did
98.
sky surf.
Yeah, so I was the camera flyer for a sky surf team. Yeah. This is actually from the nationals. So I competed in the 98 nationals, and we were going for the intermediate class, and it was me and Mary Tortomasi. We were the only intermediate team to show up.
I remember
And
that event. I
it
was
was,
there in Elsinore.
yeah, in Elsinore, and Craig and
Yeah,
Tanya
with Omar.
O'Brien. Yeah. So Craig and Tanya O'Brien were competing as the only other female team. And this is back when it was still separated male and female. And so you've got Craig and Tanya in the open, you've got me and Mary in the intermediate, and at the briefing the night before the competition starts, they announce that, and Mary and I hold up our hands. We're like, can we go open? Because we'd
I
rather
remember that.
lose. Yeah, we'd rather lose to Craig and Tanya than win by ourselves. You know, that's bullshit. And it was so funny because the competition was so lopsided because, as you know, Craig and Tanya were so fucking good that we just had fun the entire competition. Craig is giving me camera tips. Tanya's giving her sky surf tips because they know we can't fucking beat them. And we just had a blast. So that was my only introduction to competitive sky surfing. But then I watched as it continued on, and I watched moves like, I think it was Sean McCormick came up with the Invisible Man, that the moves were so extreme that you're having to duct tape your arms to keep from blowing blood vessels in your hands so you
Yeah.
can pull. And that's kind of where, at least I assume, that's where sky surfing kind of fell off, because it got to the point where it was so technical, but it was also getting incredibly dangerous.
You are one of the people, one of the few people I've run into that has a similar understanding to me, and accurate, what I feel to be a most accurate understanding of the reason why the insurance companies of the X Games said,
Yeah.
"Catch you later."
Yeah.
Like,
They're like,
like,
we're tapping out.
we don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Look,
And it was the coolest shit. I mean, I remember before I understood anything about the dynamics of flying that it just looked beautiful and it looked amazing. But then I also remember seeing the first time I ever saw the Invisible Man move, and my thought wasn't, "Oh, how cool." My thought was, "Oh my fucking God." You know.
I had the fortunate I was in a fortunate position with Sean McCormick. He also went to that same X Trials qualifier.
Mm.
There was him, myself, Tanya,
Yep.
Ruga Carr, bless you. So there was a few others. However, the four of us were like the class or age group of people that were clearly influenced by Rob Harris's departure, and we're gonna continue on. I was kind of seeing it that way, but I wasn't a California kid. I didn't realize. Did you know this? Do you know that there was like the high school that Rob Harris went to, Saugus High School, that time frame of Paris Valley, the Flyboys all went to Saugus.
Nice.
A guy named Colin Rio went to Saugus. Tanya went to Saugus. Oh, there's so many people from the Saugus High School that like that was the cool thing to do. That was the groove to get in once you after high school.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that in my experiencing what I was talking about candid level interactions, hearing that name, and I thought I started looking up star constellation names. There's
And
a
it was a high school.
Sarguso or a Sargusa that means like it's like algae in the water, like seagrass.
Right.
But then when I went to a wedding, Colin and Teresa, friends of ours that are skydivers, and there was a lot of people that went to the wedding that were in the high school, and then I found out that they were all went to the same high school, and then they told me the name Saugus, and I was like,
It was all a high school.
oh,
I love
okay,
it. I love it.
interesting. Yeah, it's this LA high school.
Nice.
So I really appreciate this time to speak about all this stuff. Yeah, the the proper way to learn sky surfing is on a side stance configuration, what I call the meter class, and it's roughly a meter long. And you're able, and what it does is give the skydiver the ability to recover the same way that they learned from the beginning of skydiving.
Sure.
Arch, control your heading, and then when you're ready, you front flip onto the board.
Yep.
And as far as the pull position, you're flying that board in a slot behind you in a head up configuration, well, pitched up configuration, sure, to give your bag a clean route. I put together a manual in 2020 that shows an excellent program and gives anybody the ability to sit down, review the manual, you see what's going on. It's got some good visuals in there, so you can assess how you want to go about this. But it at least puts an AFP style program out there, AFP style program out there that the new rider can assess, understand how to go about it, and have a checklist of things to make sure you're able to do. Sure. In the vertical flight department, as well as in the dynamic flight department. I advise people to spin on their back a few times before they do it. Some people go do the back spinning. It's like, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and keep going the direction I'm going, because the spinning orientation to some people is just a little too much.
Sure.
You're operating conscientiously in a spinning dynamic. That fight or flight thing is very apparent in there, and you don't want to fight against that spin.
Sure.
Especially when you have a board on your feet, you start fighting it and you start increasing that spin.
Oh yeah.
You want to relax, breathe, see what this feels like, roll over on your stomach, and continue from that point. So us giving people a link to that manual so they can get it for a free download and check it out at their own leisure has been a great thing for a new era in
yeah.
Well,
and I think it's honestly, as it gains popularity again, I think it's just as important to give people that kind of guidance, just in the same way that people are getting guidance when they're downsizing canopies or anything along those lines. Like I vividly remember Sammy Popov, actually, back when he was learning how to sky surf, it started on a very short, I believe it was a surf flight board. And it was you called it an inline, where you're facing the direction of the board.
Right.
Yeah, so he's flying on that, but he switched without any precursor, went from that short surf flight to and probably a 5 foot, switched to probably a 5 foot or more than 5 foot tall composite Tom Stanton. And I
Right.
filmed the first time he went out on that. And from 13,000 feet, I chased him down to, I don't know, 3,500 feet with him spinning out of control, just trying to get on top of that damn thing because
This is
there was no guidance back then, right?
right. Right.
And he went from this very,
Oh,
yeah, he went from
he
this.
went he went straight for the inline.
Yeah, dude. Well, he went from a very short surf flight inline to a very
Yeah.
large Tom Stanton that was,
Yeah.
the honeycomb composite and
Right.
crazy light.
Actually, well, his Stanton's were foam.
Oh, were they
Stanton's
foam?
foam.
Okay.
Stanton's foam for it. Yeah.
But yeah, he basically strapped a high performance propeller to his feet and I chased
Right.
him out and holy shit. And I remember the entire time going, I'm going to see what a Cypress fire looks like because there's no fucking way. And he
Right.
managed at the last minute to get his board under him and pitch. But he had never flown that size board at all. So even flying on his belly with that board, tucking it up on his ass did nothing because it stuck out half a meter on either
Yeah,
side.
there's a way to do that also, but it really helps to have some insight going into it. The program for the for the meter class, there's a strategy in saying meter class rather than shortboard because people sounds better.
It's sexier, yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah. It's sexier for sure.
So the meter class shows you the dynamics of flying with the stick on your feet and your feet bound. And even the manual gives you insight as to what's going on there. And the next step, the inline process, flying process, you can actually repeat the levels of the meter class simply with the inline on your feet and do really well. However, I've kind of outlined it's a 25, I believe a 25 or 27 level program for that a lot of the levels repeat. I have you go out and do XYZ move. Let's say it's a scorpion, which is falling an arch, but the board is tucked on you, curled up behind you.
Sure.
And with an inline, that scorpion, like you said, the tail is sticking way behind you there.
Yeah.
And doing an intentional body spin, a flat spin facing earth, and then swing the board out and knife it in underneath you, which that could take somebody, just that move alone could take somebody 5, 10, 20 jumps to
For sure. For sure.
And if you do these jumps of that 24, 25 jump program of the inline, plan on that taking 75 flights to get through. But all of that together, your meter class being 25 flights, which you can do that in a week to 10 days.
Sure.
Then doing the inline transition course, that's another 75 flights. Now you're getting close to 100 flights on deck. I had 150 before I went to a larger 50 something inch board. I forget, 140 centimeters, something like that. Again, though, there's no rush to do that, but that larger deck as in versus the 4 foot or the 121 centimeter, that larger 140 centimeter and higher class, for a guy like me that's 5'11 and 170, the fall rate is a lot different.
Sure.
It's all about slowing yourself down when you start standing on the board to deploy with an inline.
Sure.
And you really want to concentrate on slowing everything down. A lot of people, when they start flying an inline, they turn into a Statue of Liberty. A Statue of Liberty, she's great, majestic, and I appreciate the Goddess of Freedom as a statue, but as a sky surfer, that's a really bad pole position.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of like I hope this works out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, all kinds of things can happen when you're standing up vertical
Sure.
and your bag and your emergency or your reserve is right there. It can pull against your reserve,
Yeah,
and you don't want that to happen. So you want to lean way forward. You want to create all this drag to slow yourself down
sure.
and give your container an open your bag an open path to fly off your back.
Sure,
And a
sure.
lot of that has to do with preparedness, having some insight as to what's going to take place. But we've got all these tools, and we went into this sky surfing, went through this bit of a dark night of the soul situation, quiet, and then this reemergence. We did. There wasn't a whole lot of video
Sure.
because it was all old video, and it didn't, all the stuff that I wanted to get from like Jason Peters, who I flew back in 2001, 2, 3. All of the stuff that he converted to like a terabyte drive, like his terabyte drive, he put it on warps or something like that. So he lost all this, like a whole decade of decadence. I kind of affiliate the years of Jason flying with Jason Peters as a little bit of my Motley Crue time frame.
Right.
So yes. So now it's become a little bit more, let's see, what was I listening to on the World Peace Movement, Sky Surf with Omar Hegelan and the group over the pyramids at the Jump Like a Pharaoh event. I was listening to, I can't think of what came on right before. There was a Ozzy Osbourne Crazy Train started playing on the tailgate at one point in time in one of the warm-up jumps. Michael Jackson's Starlight.
Okay.
Which is a really cool song if you understand what happened there. So 1982, Michael Jackson went to Quincy Jones with a song called Starlight. And Quincy Jones listened to it, and they ended up, their conversation went this way, that way. They got set on making a really cool video, and they changed the name of the song, kept the same music, but changed it from Starlight to Thriller.
Yeah.
And that became that MTV changed the world of rock videos, Thriller, that happened. So after I did the 190 spinning record a year or two earlier, I was looking for a song to put on my Instagram, and they had just released Starlight. And in all my spinning and understandings of getting to something and writing some articles, I'm realizing what this brilliant thing is that I've figured out how to describe that helps understand this dimension stuff. And it's centripetal force. This is something I learned in high school and got into an argument with a physics teacher with in senior year in high school. He said centripetal force is the only spinning force in existence. It's the force that it's how gravity works. It's why the Earth stays in orbit with the sun. It's why the stars stay in relatively the same positions with each other around the center of the galaxy. It's why Andromeda Galaxy is at a position so far away from us. Like Milky Way and Andromeda have a gravity in respect to each other, and then those have a gravity or a centripetal force equation relative to the center of what they're spinning around. So in understanding that centripetal pedal force and picking up on the chakra stuff that Buddha was speaking of, having to do with the lotus petals of spinning light, I'm like, wow, I'm getting that's what's happening in the spin. That's what that high is that I'm getting. I'm relating to like spinning entities, stars, and that's what I'm feeling, and that's what I'm hearing is crosstalk Yeah, there's some really cool stuff, but I'm also like, man, I got to figure out how to describe this so I don't sound batshit crazy. Yeah, so I found that song Starlight, played it on the video, and then we're getting ready to go do the 25 spot World Peace Movement angle flight together. It's Egypt. It's last year in November. You know, we've got all these wars going on right now. We want to stop. A great man, John Lennon, once said, if we all wanted peace, we'd have it. It's being that mindset of wanting peace together. Well, we're in the bus getting ready to go to the runway, and there's a dignitary from some other country that's flown into the airport, and our plane is on hold. And they're like some president or something. I'm like, they're having a meeting here in Egypt about these wars going on. Like, this has become a diplomat spot. Interesting how this is working out. And so in that downtime, that pause of waiting to go to the airport, I want to upload a new song. So I upload, the only one that shows up that I'm able to download is Michael Jackson Starlight. So I download it. It's now in my new playlist. A little bit of nervous energy going on, trying to calm down a little bit. We get there, we go do our thing. We're tailgates opening. As the tailgate's opening, pew, the entry to the same entry of the song of Thriller is happening, but it's Starlight. I'm
Right.
like, wow, this is cool. Well, that's right. The 190, another song came to mind too. The 190 record year. There's an Etta James, Amen, and This Little Light of Mine came on. I ended up going for an angle flight with Airwax, Karine, and Greg.
And Greg, yeah.
And the Russian, Andre.
Nice.
Andre. Yeah.
Nice.
We're flying together. This Little Light of Mine is playing in my ears from Etta James, who's like one of the original rock and roll.
Oh, yeah, she's a badass.
I'm seeing the pyramid below Karine. She's flying on her back, smiling. I hear her thoughts of I love you to Greg as we're breaking off. Like, I hear it in her voice. I hear that. In my head, I hear that. So, you know this thing with the pyramids having one of the GPS digits are...
I've heard something about that. Yeah.
Is the same digit sequence as the speed of light.
I've heard something about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So all those things have been in my experience Rolodex, let's call it. So putting two and two together with all this, getting to the World Peace Movement thing and hearing the Starlight song play as we're flying, I land and hear Michael Jackson's voice. Well, that's cool how that worked out.
Dude, you gotta love
interesting how that worked out.
You gotta love it, man. Well,
yeah, so there's been a really cool thing with me with the evolution of music I've listened to along the way while doing this sport. I'm still happy I started listening to music while surfing.
Oh yeah.
Your love of sport happens a lot when you do that. You know, I used to bike like road race back in Puerto Rico when I was like 15, 16 years old. And I listened to Michael Jackson back then, but it was like a Walkman 1.
Sure, of course.
Somewhere.
Well, this is going to lead us into what'll be our second episode, which is where we get to talk about the writing that you've been doing. We get to talk more about the specifics on the instruction that's going into it and the rebirth of the competitions that you've got coming up as well. But I want to, before we go, I want you to share with people how they can follow you on social media, how they can find out a little bit more on their own about what's going on, how they can reach out and send you a message, and then have them get ready to tune in for episode number 2 with you and I, which we're going to record quite soon, outlaying everything else. So please give me the socials and all that stuff.
Well, one that was Heidi that just went by us, if she makes it into the cut. But so I'm Human Airframe on Instagram, and Kēbē on Facebook. Kēbē-san. If you Human Airframe on Instagram is a great way to get a hold of me on my phone, and Kēbē on Facebook.
Now, what's a good link for the people that want to find that manual while they're waiting for the next episode? Where would they find a good link for that?
You know what I could do? I could probably put it. I'm gonna try to put a link to that in my Instagram.
In your bio.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if there's a way we can put a QR code. I've got the ability to create a QR code for it, and I could send one to you.
Of course.
I don't know if you've got the ability to put that on screen, but maybe I can figure out how to. I'm pretty sure I can put a link to that.
Yeah, if you get me a QR code and then add the link into your bio and Instagram and the Facebook as well, that way people can find that as well. And we're going to record episode number 2, I think next week we had planned on. So we'll be able to go through, again, all of the writing and go through the manual, the instruction that you've got going on, and then, of course, the cloud games that are coming up, which I look forward to hearing all about.
The cloud games are going to be cool, and we've got a small, safe fleet and an excellent first step. Maybe 3 to 5 people in the meter class, maybe 3 to 5 people in the inline line. Basic moves: front flip, back flip, right turn, left turn, some flat turn, right and left stuff. Some basic, make the event happen, make it happen safely, and then reassess. And kind of as people are learning to one up each other, we also one up the competition for next year.
Awesome.
And as far as the angle flying together, World Peace Movement and Omar Al-Hejlan and the kind people at Jump Like a Pharaoh event number 8 in October, November at Skydive Egypt is happening. It's
awesome.
It's a good time to get in with them. Mahmoud and Mustafa are great guys. I remember seeing the pyramids pop up on TV when I was at Omar's house in 1998, and the two of us looked at each other. It was one of those moments, like, one day I had.
And now it's coming up on number 8.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Well, Kēbē, I'll tell you what, this first one has been absolutely amazing. I thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me, share some stories, and I can't wait for round 2 coming up where we can get into the nitty-gritty with some of the other stuff, man.
I appreciate it big time, man.
All right, brother. Peace out.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Lunatic Fringe podcast, brought to you as always by, well, wait, not as always, actually. Brought to you now by Gyro. Formerly known as NZ Aerosports, you'll head to gyro.com for their next level line of canopies. By Pussfoot, the Extreme Sports Collective. Head over to pussfoot.com to check it out. By Summit Parachute Systems, check out summitparachutesystems.com to talk to Jarrett Martin and the gang about kick-ass pilot rigs, rigging courses, and more. By Flyaway Indoor Skydiving, go to flyawaytn.com and check out all the cutting-edge stuff to come. By Pure Spectrum CBD, head to purespectrumcbd.com to check out their wide range of CBD products. And as for us, head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com to listen to any of the hundreds of episodes currently available, hit the link for our YouTube channel, pick up your copy of the Lunatic Fringe book or The Accidental Stripper, and get a sneak peek at upcoming guests. Once again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Get on the fire, get on